welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey friend, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, and goodness, I cannot wait to talk to you today about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is really the power of our circle, the people that we surround ourselves with, and what an impact it can make on our successes and our failures. And first, the background, right? So this last week, I launched my very first meeting of Business and Bubbly, which is a local networking group. I partnered with Charity Majors out of Boise, Idaho, to create a space where women can essentially rise together. And it's a metaphor from the bubbly, is a place to empower one another, to make sure that we all have a seat at the table and to continue to grow and push and pull in a positive, uplifting way. And just, interestingly enough, I had tried to start a networking group in my community back in 2020, but the pandemic hit and it really was hard for us to find that energy online the same as it was in person. And we had a hard time finding venues once things started to clear up. And I just kind of let it go by the wayside. I had, searched for a few things that I could partner with that didn't feel like in alignment. And I really was just wanting to make sure that, how can I put this? Like that I was not the smartest person in the room, but I was not the dumbest person in the room, if that makes any sense. Like I really wanted to be surrounding myself with people who are growing and could push me and that I could help and lift up as well. And I was searching for that. And it was revelation that, looking around the room at one of my retreats, here I was across the world at this beautiful villa, this beachfront location. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like 90% of these people are local to me. Why am I not building this community more intentionally in my hometown, right? And it kind of just led me to take this intention and to build out this networking group. But it can't be just any networking group. It had to be something that was in alignment with manifesting and being the best version of myself and allowing myself to take advantage of the science behind what I know is involved in the circle that we surround ourselves with and how that can impact our failures and our successes. And so I'm just going to ask you right now, if you think about this, have you ever gone into a room and you don't know what it is, you can't put your finger on it, but it just feels off, right? Like it just feels off. You're like, I can't get out of here fast enough. Or maybe you've been in a room where you're like, oh my gosh, this feels like home. Like I am so uplifted. I feel amazing. You leave it and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm good to go for the rest of the day. Or maybe you meet a person and there's just something about them that puts you at this, like, either you're intimidated, like just by they haven't even said a word, but like there's something about them that just like makes you a little bit uncomfortable or uneasy. Or maybe you're around people that just make you feel like you can't get enough of them. Like, where have you been on my life? Or I feel like I've known you my whole life. Or maybe you're around somebody within seconds and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling stressed out. Like, can you relate to any of this stuff? And I'm talking like none of these people have even said a dang word. And you already are picking up on the sense and it's impacting your emotional state. Friend, here's the cool part. Like, let's bring in some nerdy metaphysics into this, okay? So when we think about the people that we surround ourselves with, it's very easy for their essence, their emotions, their energetic state to either pull you into a better space or drag you down into a worse state. And I got to just tell you that if you are around people
whose glass is half empty all the time, or they completely like crap on your dreams and tell you that it's never going to happen and that you are completely nuts, or if you're around people that are constantly stressed out and they're constantly worried and they're just in this frantic energy, it's going to impact your productivity. It's going to impact the energy in which you get to work with. It's going to impact the way that you show up. And you're going to hear me say this over and over again on the show, that it's not what you do, it's who you are while you do it. And so when you're showing up on those sales calls, or where you're showing up on social media, or when you're showing up to teach or to serve your clients in whatever way, if you are allowing that energy to influence you in the negative way, it's going to impact your success, right? But you might be around people that they're like, oh my gosh, like, let me tell you my dreams. Let me tell you what I've got going on. Like this morning, before I recorded this podcast, I met up with a couple of my business besties. One of them is over in the UK. One of them is in Texas. And we were able to talk about like what we see for ourselves in this next year and what we're envisioning and how we can support one another. And I was able to ask them, like, what do you think of this idea? Do you think that there are any holes? Point them out to me. And it was so amazing. Like we were able to feed off of the energy, that I was able to get right into being super productive and knowing that I was putting out really good content today. And I felt motivated and I felt energized and I was ready, right? And so you have to be mindful of the people that you surround yourself with and how that can impact your productivity. It can impact your delivery. It could impact, how big you're dreaming and your vision for things, or how small and constricted you're allowing that to look. It all has an impact. And bringing it into the metaphysics space, I'm just going to remind all of us that we, as human beings, right, are just like anything else on this planet, everything else in this universe, are just made up of atoms. And atoms are simply just a nucleus with electrons rotating around it in motion all the time. Our body is just a consolidation of a group of atoms that have come together to give us what we perceive as ourselves and what we see around us. And so, because we understand that our body is just made up of a bunch of electrons moving in fast motion, so is everybody else's. In fact, those electrons create what I call a biofield, which is an energetic field that is surrounding us at all times. In fact, you can see it in imaging technology, that you can see the heat that's given off. You can see, the different energetic fields with different types of scanning technologies. It's unbelievable because all things are always in motion. There's this expansion and extension of who we are at all times. And what's happening is that the energy that these other people and yourself are giving off is creating a connection. It's a connection through resonance energy. If you've watched any of my trainings on YouTube, you've seen me utilize the example of the two tuning forks. I actually have a reel on Instagram you can go check out. But I have two tuning forks, and if you hit one of the tuning forks, you can literally see that the other tuning fork starts to make the same sound. And I stopped the original one. It's the other tuning fork that's making the noise. And I never even hit it. It's because of the resonance energy. They're influencing one another. Okay. So it's so important that you choose carefully who you're surrounding yourself with. And if you're surrounding yourself with people who are always in this frantic energy or this depleted energy, it is going to rub off on you through resonance energy. Okay. Now, when I think about energy as well, I love to point out the fact that scientists at MIT have been able to measure how fast our electrons are rotating and measure it in frequency or in hertz based on the emotions that we feel. So if I am feeling feelings that are associated with hopelessness and despair and guilt and shame, my electrons are actually rotating slower. Therefore, it's measured with a lower frequency, lower vibration, lower hertz. But if I am feeling feelings of love and joy and peace and gratitude and freedom, my electrons are actually rotating faster. My vibration is higher. The frequency is higher. The hertz is higher. And so my thoughts are what create my feelings. And if my feelings are indicating how fast my electrons are rotating, my thoughts can actually influence my own vibration. But so can everybody else's. And so if you're constantly surrounding yourself with people who are the doom and gloom, or who think that the world is out to get them, or their circumstances have created a victim, they are going to essentially be vibrated in a lower frequency. And that frequency can influence your frequency. Okay. Now, another really cool, interesting way to look at this is the law of vibration, or the law of attraction is a subsidiary of the law of vibration. And what the law of vibration says is that like energies attract. So just like I were to tune in to, the radio station, I like to give this example because I was a child of the 80s and 90s, right? Like I would sit in my bedroom in the 90s and I would listen to Casey Kasem in his studio in LA with my boombox and my mixtape ready to record, right, in my tiny little bedroom in Minnesota. How the hell was I able to pick up Casey Kasem's, music from LA? It was because I was tuned into the same frequency. The same applies in the way that your body is vibrating and the way that other things of that frequency can be attracted to it. Now, what happens then is that your electrons and the electrons of that other person, place, idea, conversation is also at the same frequency. Your electrons will literally start to dance with each other, and that's called entanglement. And so if you think about it, if I am constantly being surrounded with people who are vibrating high and I'm vibrating high, our electrons are going to start to dance and entangle with one another. And we are going to start to essentially be catalysts for success for one another. This is when I am going to allow for my electrons to attract in ideas that are downloaded to me, conversations, people that I've been praying for, the solution that I've been wanting to solve my problems is because of the frequency that I'm at. But if you are constantly staying in the frequency of hopelessness and victimhood and despair and sadness, you're going to continue to be putting out that vibration, and you're only going to attract more things in alignment with those things. You're going to only attract the things that are consistent with the problem frequency, not the solution frequency. And so you're going to continue to attract people who complain, who thinks that they're victims, who nothing ever goes right. It's like, oh my gosh, I have a person near and dear to my heart. Love this person so much. And and they are historically in this lower vibration, right? So comments will be made like, oh, I went to the casino with so and so and they always win and I always lose. Yeah, because you are surrounding yourself with the vibration of that, and you will continue to get that 100%. And so if you go in thinking that you're a victim and that you're going to lose, then guess what? You will lose 100% of the time. It's physics. And so I want you to be mindful of that. Now, there's another video that I put out on YouTube and on Instagram that shows this cool experiment with 2 tuning forks and a ball on a string. And what it does is it shows that when the energy is not consistent with the ball, nothing moves. But when they hit the tuning fork that's not even attached to the tuning fork that is connected to the ball, resonance energy will literally move the tuning fork that's connected to the ball, and the ball will start moving. So you can be more productive through things that are attached to that frequency when you are vibrating at the correct frequency. So why not align yourself with the frequency of the things that you want? Why not align yourself with the people that are going to be the movers and shakers, the people that are going to connect you with the right people, the people that are going to be able to help you solve the problem and think of things in a glass half full way, and to be able to be resilient and find blessings in things, because those human beings, their biofield is going to allow for you to resonate with that. It's going to allow for you to entangle with the things that are meant to bring you closer to where you want to go. I don't know about you, but that's where I want to be. And so there's a reason why, I've heard, lots of like really great quotes, and I'm going to kind of bring this back into check. Like, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. quoted to Jim Rohn. Iron sharpens iron. That's Proverbs 27:17. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. That's Proverbs 13:20. I love this quote by Tony Robbins that says, who you spend time with is who you become. 100%. And lastly, Maya Angelou says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That is your biofield, friend. That is your impact in the world. That is the not what you do, who you are while you do it. So you're going to want to surround yourself with other people who could be catalysts for that. If you want to be able to achieve massive success, massive impact, make the world a better place, manifest a better life, manifest a better business, right? And so it's time that we start to take this advice and to be aware of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. We have to be aware of the people that we're spending time with and who we're becoming because of that. We have to be aware that iron sharpens iron and that I want to surround myself with people who are going to sharpen me, who are going to make me better, who are going to impact me so that I can make a bigger impact in the world. That's what this can do for us. That is the power of acknowledging our inner circle. So what I want you to do as we're listening to this is think about, who are the 5 people that you are surrounding yourself with? Who do you spend the most time with? And I want you to circle the people on that list that are the most supportive. And I want you to make an intentional plan to spend more time with those people. And then I want you to put a little asterisk next to the people that reduce your, that you need to reduce your exposure to. These are the people that bring you down. These are the people that can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. These are the people that think that they're victims to everything and that the world owes them something, that nothing ever goes right, because they will drag you down. And I want you to also think about, who do you need to add? Is there a mentor that you want to bring into your world? Is there somebody that you're like, oh my gosh, I love the way I feel when I'm next to them. I need to make some intention to spend more time with that person. Or I just want to get to know that person. Or, boy, my friends list is really dragging me down. Nobody gets this whole entrepreneurship thing. Like, I don't have anything in common with them anymore. Like, who do you want to add to your circle? And be intentional about it, okay? And then the last thing I want to just acknowledge here is that there's a really great analogy. Many of you guys have probably heard of this, but maybe not. But there is something called the crab mentality. Now, here's the scoop. This is for real. You can go and look up a video on it. But if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, they will never get out. They will crawl, they will try, but they will never get out. And this is why. Anytime any one of those crabs makes any amount of progress towards getting out of the bucket, the other crabs will drag them down. Crabs will crawl their way over each other, but they will never support one another. They will never help each other out. They will literally crawl over each other and grab the one that's trying to escape. And I want you to not only make an intentional decision right now to not be a crab, to not be the person that's dragging everybody else down around you, but I don't want you to surround yourself with them either. Because your life and your purpose and your calling deserves to be fulfilled. And you do not have the time to spend your time with people that are going to drag you down. And it sucks sometimes, because there's going to be people that you've outgrown. There's going to be people that in their own insecurities cannot let you grow. There are going to be people in your life who don't get it. There are going to be people that you love, but those people need to have boundaries around them. You must really be intentional about protecting your energy, because your success and the impact that you're supposed to make in the world and your fulfillment of your calling depends on it. So stop selling yourself short. Stop settling. Stop trying to make excuses for people, and allow yourself to see what you're capable of, because you've surrounded yourself with some really amazing people. And I got to just tell you that my Spiral Up tribe in my group coaching program, you guys are freaking amazing people. And I am so much better off because you're in my tribe. My Business and Bubbly group, my goodness, boy, did you guys just bring it when we got together. And I'm so excited to continue to surround myself with really great people who can help me be a better version of myself, who can help me to fulfill my calling, who can help me to make a bigger impact in the world. And I want the same for you. So let's keep spiraling up, friends. Let's keep being intentional about who we surround ourselves with. And I can't wait to see you next week for another episode of the Spiral Up podcast. Until next time, bye.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.